Yeah, I'm Ron MacDonald. I'm Executive Chairman of American Vanadium Corporation.
And what does American Vanadium do?
Well, American Vanadium, we're true to the name.
Yeah.
We're an exploration company. We're late stage. We're into permitting. We will be the only commercial producer of vanadium in the United States or in North America. Our deposit, once fully developed, will constitute about 5%, 6% of global supply. It's a unique deposit for vanadium globally in that it's not in a hard rock. It represents itself in a shale. So it's more of a quarrying than really a mining operation that we've got. So what basically happened, vanadium is used for steel. That's the primary use for it. And in super alloys, titanium alloys and things like that that are used for national defense. But the majority of it is used to strengthen steel. So you put about 0.5% in your steel batch when you're making your steel of vanadium, and you get the same strength with about 40% less steel. So it's a steel strength. It's been around for a very long time. It was used for the Model T, and Ford produced the steel so that he could actually have a car that would move with a combustion engine. So he got steel in that car that was 40% less weight. So it's been around for a very long time. That is the traditional use. The other new use, as I mentioned, for aerospace, for national defense, you have to have an extremely high purity to go in there. And there's only a small percentage of vanadium produced globally that can do it. I can tell you today, because we just press released it, we've achieved a 99.999% purity on the deposit, which means that it is fully applicable to national defense. The other big thing about vanadium, though, and that's what I want to talk, I'm glad that you're talking to us today, is for the emerging renewable energy sector. Renewables have never really met their promise. And one of the reasons for it is that storage was a problem. How do you store mass amounts of electricity that are coming from wind that's generating the power at night when there's no market, or from solar when the demand is down? So how do you effectively store it? Old technologies like lead acid, pretty much about the only way, pumped hydro. But there's been technologies out there for 20 years now, new technologies for storing electricity. The problem with them is that they hadn't met the economic test. They couldn't really be commercialized. Over the last 6 to 7 years, a lot of activity in China over on turning up their production of renewable energy. 6 years ago, China set their first renewable targets, and they were at about, I think, 8%. They overachieved. They got 8.9%, so about 11-12% more than the target. The other thing that they did is that they became the number one producer of solar panels, the number one producer of wind turbines, but they increased the efficiency of it and drove the cost down. So that solar technology is now a good investment, and you can get a long-term return on it. What they've just done is that they've set a target for storage. And they're building microgrids in remote areas, so they need these storage solutions. So what they're going to do is, between now and 2021, they've set a target to build 5% storage to their total electrical generation, not just on renewables. They're going to be generating about 2.4 billion kilowatts of power. So if you do the math, you see that storage, this is a massive new industry. Industry analysts have indicated that it's anywhere between 400 billion and $1 trillion of investment globally between now and 2021, because these technologies are now commercially feasible, and that those technologies, as they're built out, are going to be more than competitive with petrochemical, with the oil and with gas. So there's going to be a massive new industry built, $1 trillion industry globally. It's not replacing anybody else's industry, it's brand new. So I call it a new industrial revolution. Why are we really happy with this? I'll tell you why. Because the vanadium that we've got, because of the purity and because of the way the deposit happens, we will be able to produce the highest quality vanadium electrolyte to go in those vanadium flow batteries that are that solution for renewables or for load leveling on a grid. And we're going to be able to do it at a cost that we don't think anybody else can compete with. So we've decided in our company that this mine is first step to us becoming a green tech company. And we will be in the energy storage business within 3 to 5 years with this very unique deposit.
I assume that the energy storage industry is industry right now that is developing quickly and then changing quickly right now as well too. What is that industry going to look like, and then how are you strategizing the company to be part of it?
Well, you're right, and it is going to develop very quickly. It will start in Asia, and then it will hit America next. And it is part of the renewal of the American economy, and so it's a good time to be in this sector. So there's lots of new technologies that are going to come out. So vanadium flow batteries, you have lithium ion batteries, sodium sulfur batteries. There's some problems with that because of safety, but there's a lot of new IP that's being developed every day to meet those storage requirements. I can tell you, like IRAC in Quebec, which is Quebec Hydro's research division, they have multiple patents on new battery technologies that use lithium and vanadium, that use vanadium, that are not commercialized yet. And there's research facilities with these large power companies all over the world that every day are investing in these technologies to meet that demand. So for us, what it means for us is that we've got to make sure that that we partner with the right partner, that we can continue to go up the value chain as they make the investments, improvements in their technology. And so that's primarily what we're doing. We would hope that by Christmas that we will have a partner for a joint venture, and in that joint venture we will guarantee not only the quality of the electrolyte but stability of price. And it would be our intention with that joint venture partner to have them manufacture in the United States. We want to build industry in the United States here around this, and by guaranteeing the price of our vanadium, because vanadium has had a history of price spikes, which makes the whole economics around the battery not that good. But by being part of that solution, we're going to lease the vanadium electrolyte into the battery. And we can do it because, unlike any other element that would go into a battery or storage technology, this never burns out. So we can charge and discharge fully the electrolyte vanadium flow battery over 2,000 times. And at the end of the day, if the battery has to be decommissioned, we can recapture 98% of the vanadium. So it seems to us that the highest best value and the way to really promote the development of an industry in the United States is by the economic model that we just talked about. So we're in very late stage discussions with the world's leading vanadium flow battery manufacturers to see if we can make that work. It gives my investors the highest value that they would ever get per pound of vanadium, but it allows for the orderly development with a robust business plan of a storage build-out market in the United States.
You're dealing with mining investment community, and I guess also with the renewable energy community. And as far as investors goes, they're very different communities. They're very different people to deal with.
They are very, very different communities, and if you start dealing with some green funds, one of the problems is most of them don't make the average return of the TSX. But people invest in it because of the non-financial benefits that they get out of it. With our project, when we move forward, we've got a very robust business plan, and if we only sold the steel, we're going to get a 43% return on investment. Anything that we do that go up the value, that takes us up the value chain, gives a much larger investment. So yeah, we're seeing a move into our space, into our stock by green tech. We're seeing green tech funds taking in interest. Every time that we've gone out, that I've gone on television, if it's in the United States or if it's in Canada, and we talked about where this vision is, that this mining company is moving into the energy field, and here's why, we see tremendous uptake in the markets. Tremendous uptake. We've only got 22, 23 million shares out there, so there's not a lot of shares trading. But we see tremendous pressure on it every time that story is told. Every time we're mentioned in an article or a television show, which talks about how storage is going to unleash the promise of renewables, we get a lot of activity, and we know that that's more the green tech investors.
We're at the Mine Expo right now. I guess the question is, who are you meeting with? And also the other would be, have you ever seen anything ever like this before?
Now I'll answer the second one first. No, I haven't. It's really exciting. It's at a bad time in the market, but people are still very optimistic here. If you've got a resource, even if the market undervalues it for whatever reason, the resource is still worth what it's worth. And so I hope a lot of these guys can hang in until the full recovery comes. For me, being here, we had a second message as well. It wasn't just our project, but it was that we're going to be putting a microgrid on our site. So we're going to walk the walk. So over on our site, outside of Eureka, as this mine gets built, we're going to be energy self-sufficient. We're building a 5 megawatt solar field. We're putting in a vanadium flow battery using our vanadium electrolyte. It'll be one of the largest in the world for the flow batteries. And so, and we're doing it not just as a promo thing. It actually makes economic sense. We've run all our numbers. We know how much power we're going to take. And the excess power we hope we would be selling into the grid. So it actually generates revenue for us. But we want to highlight the fact that these microgrids with the type of storage solution that we can offer with the vanadium flow battery with our electrolyte is a really good solution for a lot of companies that have very valuable assets that are in remote locations and they can't develop because of a lack of access to a transmission line or to the grid. And indeed, we've seen them, they're already doing it in China, they're doing it in other places. So we are hoping that this is going to be the beginning of a whole new business model as well for ourselves and that eventual joint venture partner, where we will be servicing the mining sector globally and providing those types of energy solutions.
Thank you for your time, Ron.
Okay, my pleasure.